Oh hello, you've caught me reading some of your messages on Twitter, one of my favourite pastimes.
No, really, it's great. Aside from the occasional lol you're bald comment, it's loads of fun talking about games with other people who love games. But I have noticed a common theme recently, and that is questions from people who really want to get stuck into a massive series but don't know where to start.
It can be daunting, can't it? And frustrating, listening to people harp on about the 17th instalment of that game they really like.
Especially when they turn and look at you like you're some kind of recently appeared space-time anomaly just because you've never played it. So instead of listing bosses or trophies or my favourite video game beards, I thought I'd do something useful this week and have taken 7 massive video game franchises that together have more sequels, spin-offs and remasters than there are atoms in the visible universe, and picked out where you need to start if you're a total beginner.
Here we go then, 7 brilliant games that are perfect for series newcomers.
We'll start with the big one. I get so many messages from players desperate to see what all the Final Fantasy fuss is about, but just don't know where to dive in. Well, the first thing you need to know is that really it doesn't actually matter. Every mainline Final Fantasy exists independently. They have their own stories, their own characters and their own worlds.
They share themes and in-jokes. For instance, there's always a character called Sid, and chocobos are a thing in almost all Final Fantasy games.
But, for example, you don't need to have played Final Fantasy VII to understand Final Fantasy VIII. I mean, there is the occasional direct sequel like Final Fantasy X-2 and the 13 trilogy.
But don't worry about those if you're new, just stick with the mainline entries.
Of which my recommendation for series newcomers would be Final Fantasy X. Beautifully remastered in HD for both PS3 and PS4. The reasons I always advise people to start with 10 are that it's absolutely gorgeous for a start. Spira is a beautifully realised world bursting with colour, history and variety, and exploring its hidden depths is a real treat. The story is brilliant, full of twists, turns and heavy punches to your emotion sack. The characters are distinct, memorable and likeable, and most importantly, you'll finally understand the context behind that laughing scene everyone always makes gifs out of.
Most importantly, the battle system in 10 is really easy to get to grips with, even if you're not used to taking it in turns to hit things.
There's a gentle learning curve in Final Fantasy X, but amazing depth for those who get really into it. Battling the Dark Aeons will be a challenge even for Final Fantasy veterans, but that's all optional stuff. If you just want to enjoy the story, the sights and sounds, and of course Blitzball, then you really can't go wrong with 10. Give it a go, and if you still don't like Final Fantasy after that, well, then I'm afraid we can't ever be friends. Next up, Uncharted. Now, the burning question always asked by people who've got a brand new PS4 for their birthday is, can I jump in with Uncharted 4 because oh my god it looks amazing? And yes, you can, and you'll more than likely love it. It's an incredible game full of spectacular set pieces, anchored by a thoughtful script and nuanced acting performances. But you'll get more out of it if you've journeyed alongside Nathan Drake from the very beginning.
So my official advice is play the Nathan Drake Collection first.
A handy PS4 remaster of Uncharted's 1, 2 and 3. This is an essential package. Every game is top drawer, plus you will learn all the important rules of Uncharted, like if you can grab it, it will break, and don't be surprised by the bad guys, they're always there first. Then, when you do get round to Uncharted 4 after 40 or so hours of incredible adventuring, those emotional payoffs will be all the more impactful.
Also, playing the first 3 Uncharteds is kind of like a rite of passage, you know. You have to play through the jet ski bit in Drake's Fortune and do the round and round final boss in Uncharted 2 and the Ghost Rider bit in Uncharted 3.
You'll know it when you get there, trust me. Otherwise, if you play Uncharted 4 first, it's like turning up to celebrate someone else's graduation ceremony, isn't it? It'll be lovely, yes, but wouldn't you rather it was your own? Yakuza is next up, one of those series where everyone who plays it becomes a wide-eyed evangelist, shouting Kiryu's praises from the rooftops, and everyone who hasn't has it on their list of I'd really like to play it, but good God, where do I start?
If you're in the latter category, then lucky you, because I'm about to explain it.
You should start with Yakuza 0, a prequel exploring the origins of legendary kicker of Yakuza asses Kazuma Kiryu and everyone's second favourite eye patch wearer, Goro Majima. Then, if you're confused about where you should go from there, it's Yakuza Kiwami, a PS4 remake of the original PS2 Yakuza, followed by Yakuza Kiwami 2, a PS4 remake of Yakuza 2, and then Yakuza 3, 4, 5 and 6. If you want an experience more authentic to what the creators originally intended, you could even consider starting with Yakuza Kiwami, seeing as that's a reimagining of the very first game. It does a really good job of introducing the characters while also looking brilliant, and waiting until after finishing Yakuza 5 to go back and play 0.
That way, when you play 0, you'll have more knowledge of the characters and get more of a kick out of seeing where they came from.
Either way, once you're in, wherever it is you start, there'll be no stopping you, and you'll devour the entire series like your life depended on it. If you've never played Yakuza, you are in for a treat. You probably think it's all kicking people and karaoke.
And there is lots of that, to be fair.
But you'll be surprised by the depth and emotional weight of the story, the quality of the writing, the impeccable cinematic direction, the density and detail of the incredible open world setting. Stop umming and ahhing, start Yakuza 0 now. Or Kiwami, your pick. Metal Gear Solid is next up, another series I get asked about all the time, and I'm quite passionate about where to start here, and it isn't Metal Gear Solid 3. Metal Gear Solid 3 is a prequel, but fits into the wider story exactly where it is. You know, not all stories are told in a linear fashion. This obsession with tackling things chronologically does a disservice to the carefully constructed narrative of the Metal Gear saga.
If you play Metal Gear Solid 3 first, there will be so much that you will miss. Plot twists that won't feel like plot twists. Important information you won't recognise as important information.
You're not supposed to play Snake Eater first. It's Metal Gear Solid 3, not Metal Gear Solid 0. You play 3 after 2 and before 4, which means you start with Metal Gear Solid. Now, before the comments explode, yes, I know Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake are technically the first games in the series, but if you're a new player looking to get into this, I would not recommend starting there. Those two games are more like interesting curiosities for veteran players. You know, they're showing their age now. If you start Metal Gear with Metal Gear, you'll probably end it there too, and no one wants that.
Play Metal Gear Solid first. It is still, over 20 years on, an absolutely phenomenal game.
Brilliant story, riveting gameplay, incredible soundtrack, some of the most memorable characters and boss fights in the history of the medium, and it's so inventive all the time. You're constantly being thrown curveballs, forced to think outside the box. You'll be thrilled and surprised for the entire 7 to 10 hours it takes you to complete. And you're in then, and it's off to Metal Gear Solid 2, and then 3, which you'll appreciate fully now, you're welcome, before Peace Walker and 4, and finally The Phantom Pain on PS4.
And then, when you're done, you can make 200 list features on YouTube and put Metal Gear in pretty much every single one.
God of War is next up, and firstly, if you've never played this series before, then shame on you.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
But if you're looking for a place to jump in, then, as much as it pains me to suggest you don't start at the very beginning, I've got to say 2018's God of War is too good to not dive into immediately. God of War, despite technically carrying on from the previous games, feels completely fresh and new. It's a reimagining of the entire series. The camera is closer to Kratos, giving you an intimacy with your protagonist that wasn't there before. Kratos is a person now, full of faults and feelings and regrets, and journeying with him through Midgard, the beautifully realised world of Norse mythology, is a gaming experience you will never forget.
You should absolutely go back and play the other God of War games after this. They are incredible action games with extravagant set pieces.
But honestly, 2018 God of War is ludicrously good. It wouldn't feel right of me to do anything other than recommend you play it immediately. And because the game is a big old refresh, you don't need to know the story of the previous games to understand what's going on. The story here is self-contained. We're in a brand new setting with new characters and, yes, technically, a new Kratos. You deserve to see him at his best, and God of War 2018 is absolutely that. Okay, entry number 6 is Kingdom Hearts. Now, I've seen lots of people on Twitter and YouTube saying, I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game before, and Kingdom Hearts 3 looks like loads of fun. Can I just play that if I haven't played any of the others?
Oh, my sweet summer child. No.
I mean, to be fair, I don't really know what's going on in Kingdom Hearts 3, and I have played all the other games, so maybe, yeah, just play it. But really, if you're serious about giving Kingdom Hearts a go, then the whole lot is available in one handy package on PS4 now, so I'd recommend starting from the very beginning. The story so far comes with 1.5 HD remix and 2.5 HD remix and 2.8 final chapter prologue, which, wait, no, forget that. It comes with Kingdom Hearts 1, okay? The very first game, beautifully remastered on PS4. Start there. Start there. And if you fall in love, as you almost certainly will, then awesome. You can now proceed to Chain of Memories and then watch the cinematic remake of 358/2 Days before tackling Kingdom Hearts 2, followed by Birth by Sleep Final Mix, then the cinematic remake of Coded, then Dream Drop Distance, and finally Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. Then you can play Kingdom Hearts 3.
Just play Kingdom Hearts 1. It's in the Story So Far collection. Just play Kingdom Hearts 1 and worry about all the other stuff later.
Our final entry is Assassin's Creed, and it's really hard to know where to start with this series if you're new to it, because you've got so many different options, in particular the beautiful, brilliant, enormous wonder RPG that is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, a game you could totally play if you're new to Assassin's Creed. Chronologically, in terms of the historical setting at least, it's the first one. It doesn't require any previous knowledge of the other games. It's got an entire new cast of characters, and it's utterly brilliant. But I personally would recommend you start with the Ezio Collection, that is Assassin's Creed 2, followed by Brotherhood and Revelations. This is a beautiful trilogy of games following Ezio Auditore da Firenze, the best assassin, let's not waste time pretending otherwise. Across these 3 games, you'll explore some of the most incredible assassin settings ever realised. Florence, Venice, Rome, Constantinople, and they're the type of settings you just don't get in the modern Assassin's Creed games. Sure, Origins and Odyssey are phenomenal and massive and take the series to new heights, but I really think it's worth visiting the series' roots, that is, clambering about an urban sprawl, parkouring through dense city streets, climbing to the top of the highest tower, and surveying your playground below.
And Assassin's Creed 2 is still my personal favourite, although Odyssey does come really close.
If you're interested in eagle diving into Assassin's Creed, you owe it to yourself to play through Ezio's story. And definitely play Black Flag too, it's amazing. And then, yes, get lost in Origins and Odyssey. In my opinion, 2 of the most incredible open worlds on PS4. So there you go. I hope you found that helpful, people who haven't played any of these games. Let us know in the comments if you have any different recommendations on where people should start with these. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know instantly when a new Friday feature goes live. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.
For the players.